All right, we are live. Welcome in, everybody. Another TigerBait live, and it's me alone again tonight. Sanji's got me on the every other week setup, it looks like. So we got a lot to talk about tonight. Football recruiting, obviously. If you're a TigerBait subscriber, you know I put out a little update this afternoon with a nice morsel in there about some big news. So I think LSU is going to have some big recruiting news going into the weekend. And then on Saturday, they're going to have a Boys from the Boot Junior Day event all day Saturday. And every major school in the South is jockeying for players, trying to talk the ones they want to come on campus. So we're waiting to get a final list as to which kids LSU is going to get on campus. And then, of course, the dead period will start next week. And then next Friday, the first day of LSU football practice and a bunch of the high schools in the area will begin on Monday. So effectively, my summer is over, and it's going to be wall-to-wall football from here on out. And I still maintain my prediction that LSU is going to be close to 20 commitments by Labor Day. And so it's about to be fast and furious on TigerBait.com. As always, our show tonight is brought to you by Pride Roofing. Thanks to Mike Faraday and Alex Martinez for sponsors. We couldn't do it every week without them. Give them a call, 275-2041. Of course, area code 225. And that phone number will cover you whether you're in Sulphur, Louisiana, all the way to Foley, Alabama, Gulf Shores, and everywhere in between. As north as Alexandria, Breaux Bridge, Lafayette, Rayne, Crowley. You name it, and of course, real big on the North Shore, St. Tammany, Mandeville, Madisonville, main office in Albany, and they've got you covered. Call them for a free roofing inspection, whether it's residential or commercial, and say you heard about them on TigerBait, and they're going to pay for you to have TigerBait.com free for a year. So we'll talk more about them a little bit later in the show. And as always, everybody, please do me a favor, hit the like button if you're enjoying the show. Hit the like button on Facebook. Share it to the LSU Facebook groups for me. Share it to your own Facebook timeline. And if you're on YouTube, hit the subscription button and the notification bell so every time we go live. We're adding more shows. I've been teasing it all year. Sound like a broken record. Well, the time has come. And we're going to be doing a lot more shows and adding some new features. Preston's show will get cranked up later in August. And I think we've got a few other wrinkles that we're working on that I think you guys will be interested in as well. And then we're going to have our post-game shows. Everybody loves our post-game shows on TigerBait, and that'll crank up, obviously, after LSU defeats UCLA in the first game. Of course, everybody's still talking about UCLA. UCLA, but mainly talking about what's happening with Texas and Oklahoma and their petition to become a member in the SEC. You got the Big 12 commissioner now sending cease and desist letters to ESPN because he feels that they're tampering with some of their other schools, trying to convince them or be a broker to get them into other conferences. And I tell you, earlier this week, I watched, of course, through the whole Kim Mulkey lead up to her getting the job. Became real good friends with the guys over at Sikkim 365, the Baylor site. And of course, they do an excellent show every day. And I've been tuning in a little bit every day. And I tell you what, I empathize for that group because I don't know what they're going to do, where they fit, how they move forward with the Big 12, those teams, Baylor, TCU, Texas Tech, and the like, Oklahoma State. I think Oklahoma State's probably going to be the first team to look for a new home, but I don't know what the Big 12 commissioner is going to do. But this time last week, when we obviously A&M had had their day in the sun at SEC Media Days, and then the news broke about Texas and Oklahoma. And this time last week, I was absolutely against it. And then by Friday morning, when I started getting a good idea of the scheduling and the way it would be done with the pods, and if it was a pod that is the most common one of Texas A&M, LSU, Ole Miss, Mississippi State, and then having Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, and Missouri in a separate pod, and the way that scheduling would work, all of a sudden I came around to the idea. One thing that we've always been talking about as LSU fans and those who cover LSU in the media, is the unfair nature of SEC scheduling. LSU having Florida as a common opponent. Alabama, of course, having Tennessee, who really hasn't been relevant for almost 20 years. And so that goes out the window. And so I think what it does to scheduling and the fact that if you're a season ticket holder, all of a sudden you open up that envelope and you get your tickets, rather than it being about 3 games that everybody in your family is fighting for the tickets, you might have 4 or 5 that are really the big tickets in a particular year. So I've come around to it, although I will say, having tuned into Jeff Ketchum's show on YouTube, he had a title today, and I go back over 20 years with Jeff over at Orange Bloods, the Texas site on Rivals. They had a headline on their video today: who will win the SEC West first, Texas or Texas A&M? So they're already acting arrogant, throwing shade, and doing what they typically do. And if there's one thing that Texas coming in the SEC that I hope gets done, is that they absolutely get put in their place by everybody else, because the fact of the matter is Texas has not been has been on the par. If you take away the Vince Young Texas National Championship, if you take that out, they've been as relevant in college football for the last 40 years as Michigan has. And so, and that's the absolute truth. They've got a much higher opinion of themselves than they actually are. So, all right, yeah, Richard Sinnett gives me a horns down. Let's get to some of the comments. As always, I thank you guys that have in previous weeks give us the super chats on YouTube. And let's see what we got here. Dane Bergeron, hello, Mike, ready for some football? We all are. Bayou Bingle, Mike, any news on Shaz? Yes, I do have some. I have an interview that I had a quarter of the way typed up. I did Buddy Sanji's show earlier today, and then I got pulled away from finishing that story off. I'll have that up on the site tomorrow morning. But if you read the Kendrick Law update on the front page of TigerBait, I think those two are real similar, that they're going to take it to the fall, and they want to see what the offenses look like at the schools they're looking at. All these kids are looking at schools that have new offensive coordinators, new coaches, and really want to see it get a lay of the land. And I think probably both of them, you're talking about a mid to late fall decision. So look for that on TigerBait.com in the morning, a Shaz Preston update. I might be able to get it out tonight before midnight, but definitely tomorrow morning. And I think, look, if you said which one's more likely to be an LSU kid, I'm going to say Shaz. I think Kendrick. I'm not going to say he's leaning to Alabama, but certainly they're thinking Alabama is definitely in the picture. And look, Mr. Law, who I interviewed, Kendrick's dad, of course, Kendrick Law Jr., the player, Kendrick's super guy. So, very, he's one of the greatest guys that we talk to in recruiting right now, Kendrick Law's father. And of course, he's on the staff at Captain Street. Harold Hibbert, where's Buddy, the date night man? Yeah, and Buddy was feeling a little under the weather as well. I think he's getting over a little flu type of thing, and hopefully that's all it is, but he'll be back next week. He sent a text right before the show started saying good luck on the show tonight. Charles Duncan, you were rarely wrong, so I'm encouraged. Appreciate that, Charles. You've been a long-time subscriber. And by the way, folks, do me a favor. I know a bunch of you have jumped on board. Y'all like the text alerts, the newsletters. Sent out a newsletter this afternoon. It's a little bit of the vacation time, and the slow period is gone. We're about to hit a whole other gear at TigerBait.com. We want to have you as a premium subscriber. Please go subscribe and do yourself a favor. Choose the annual package. When you do that, you only get billed one time, and you're basically getting 3 months for free when you choose the TigerBait premium package. Go to the front page of TigerBait. I'm telling you, within a minute and a half, it's quick and easy. And then from there, do yourself a favor, go over to the Tiger Den Premium message board, and I have a push pin post that'll walk you through getting your cell phone set up for our text alerts. I think it's like 4 steps maybe, real easy. And I promise you, I'm the one that sends the text alerts. I do not spam you. I only send you breaking news And I think you're going to get, if you're a subscriber, I think you're going to be getting a few text alerts in the coming days. And if you're a subscriber, you know what I'm talking about. Okay, guys, let's see. Charles Duncan, the #1 show in Louisiana. Appreciate that. Charles Duncan again. The SEC basketball schedule came out today. Yeah, I got it, and it came in a graph form, and I was busy, and I didn't get a chance to look at it to see what it looks like. We'll see. Greg Zachary with a lot of let's go and bring them. Chance Babin, Sick'em 365, a good listen. Yes, they are. Super guys. In fact, I'm going to have them, I think I'm going to have them on Friday for a segment where we're going to talk about what their future is. But it's also very funny talking to Smoke about get ready for the arrogance of for Texas fans. You know, I know a lot of LSU fans. Some of you probably in the chat tonight live in Texas, and everybody's got stories to tell about how arrogant Texas fans are. Smoke's got some funny stories, and I'll be going back and forth with some A&M fans today as well. It's maybe I can get him to talk a little bit about that. Here's our buddy Blake Ruffino. Yo. He just ended his show. Check out Blake's show if you haven't. Are You Serious Sports on YouTube and Facebook. And Blake does a show every night of the week, Monday through Thursday, and then on Saturday mornings. And his show is growing by leaps and bounds. And I like to keep my show a little PG. His will go to PG-13 almost nightly. Yeah, Charles Duncan. I don't blame Kendrick and Shaz. I don't think there's. I don't fault any kid who's going to make a decision tomorrow versus a kid who's going to make a decision in October or November. I really don't. Some of them need to get out and take some official visits. They're looking at a lay of the land. They're looking at personnel. Which school can they see the field at sooner? You got to let those families do their due diligence and let the LSU coaches do what they have to do in recruiting to give their best presentation. What did you guys think of Ed Orgeron today at the Rotary? I thought he was fantastic. I think he was his most engaging. Looks like he's well rested and ready to go. Had very funny with some of his comments. Certainly the soundbite of the day was see a bunch of business people here, and I'm gonna paraphrase it. Basically, you guys always wanted to pay our players. Well, now you can, and so that was pretty funny today. But certainly he went down position by position, and like we've been saying here all off season, I think LSU's about to have a bounce back year. I think whatever question mark positions you have, I think the weakest link might be tight end, but then you've got Jack Best that you can do some things with there. A veteran offensive line, best defensive line group he's had in forever. I think since he's been at LSU. I like the newcomers at linebacker, safety. We know what the quarterback situation is. A slew of running backs. If you think LSU's running game has not been what you wanted it to be, with the number of backs they have there, I think they're going to have a solution one way or another. If it's not one of the guys who's been there the last couple of years and a newcomer, then so be it. But when you've got that many legs, somebody's going to stake a claim to that job. So we'll see. Blaine Smith, heard last thing Texas and Oklahoma wants is their president testifying. Leave their drama in the Big 12. Yeah. You know, the thing that I find just absolutely amazing is just recollecting back, and it, like I said last week, it seems like yesterday when A&M left the Big 12 to join the SEC, which was the best move ever. That's absolutely something they needed to do. Just how off the chain Texas fans were, just besides themselves, that how dare Texas A&M make that move and leave, no longer want to be our whipping boy and be the little brother that, you know, how dare you. And now it's, now they're joining I heard Ketchum say the other day, the cool kids club. were they the Cool Kids Club 10 years ago, the way you were running them down? I think it's funny. And look, I know Jeffy's a friend of mine, but boy, if you go fish back on his Twitter feed to 2011 and 12, I bet he's got some hot takes that you could put together about 25 of them that would curl your hair. Let's see. Yeah, PG-13 is on a roll, Blake says. Stephen Fonva, how do you see the linebacker corps shaping out? Look, I think LSU's obviously got some talent there. You add Mike Jones, you get Baskerville back academically where he needs to be. I think they've got the bodies there. And I like the fact that Blake Baker is a dedicated linebackers coach. We know Deion's going to be a guy. Look, they've got some talent there at linebacker. Let's see. Bruce Steele, thank you very much for the super chat. Are Wiggins and Jones a package deal since they are so close? No, I don't think they're a package deal, but I think they're obviously very close friends, grew up together. And I'll tell you something else, too, about these kids, these Baton Rouge kids, all of them. All good personality kids that I've enjoyed. This group right here, I don't know what it is about the class of 22. And look, it's most years. But I think this class of 22 is a difference maker class. It's a special class. I see a bunch of kids that they want this class to be super special because they view themselves as that class that you insert into the program that makes the difference and wins a national championship and maybe competes for another one. I think that, we always talk about Walker Howard, obviously. Your quarterback is always your bell cow. But look, I think there's other kids in this class that are also, they're all communicating. And like I've been saying over and over again, I think when you start talking about national 100 prospects, who are the 5 stars? Who are your high 4 stars? I think this is a banner year. I think between whether it's your 4th best guy or your 8th best guy in the class, you can interchange them and make solid arguments as to why your number 8 guy should be as high as number 4. I think about where you put Jacoby and where you put Aaron Anderson. And then you're having to make decisions on why you have one guy or the other just because they're at a more premium position. Will Campbell is as valuable as they get as an offensive tackle. And not only that, he's as active recruiting as anybody trying to get other kids into the fold. So, and all these kids talk to each other. They all hang out together. There's probably been instances this summer that we're not even aware of where they've all been hanging out at somebody's house or they're out at False River doing something together. It's that type of class. And of course, they're all playing video games together. Everything now is tethered and they can get online and talk to each other. So, I think certainly Emery Jones will be at LSU on Friday. And I think that, Quincy, I don't see him going very far into the fall. I like where LSU sits with him. Blaine Smith, Alabama's killing it on the recruiting trail. They always do. You got to keep pace. Yes, Alex Jr. 28. I read that Mason Taylor will announce his commitment tomorrow. Mason told me it'll be 4 o'clock Central. And I've got a prediction and a tidbit on the Tiger Den premium message board. Wink, wink. So you guys go subscribe to TigerBait. And after the show, I'll be in there mingling with you on our Tiger Den premium board. And I'm going to be living there nonstop for the next 6 months. Okay, guys, let's see what else we got. Who starts at safety, Todd Harris or someone else? I think your starting safeties are Jay Ward and Major Burns. And Todd Harris will certainly be in the mix. And then that'll be it. Certainly got Sage Ryan, you got Langlois, and you've got some other kids there. They've got some depth now. Let's see. All right. Yeah, Damone Clark. He's, it goes without saying, Damone Clark, he's on the watch list, and what a specimen he is. I think he's the guy that now that he's got a dedicated linebackers coach, I think this is the year where I think things really click for him and he comes into his own and elevates himself to a super high draft pick. Let's see. Richard Sinnett, the Tigers need both Shaz and Kendrick Law. That would be a great two additions. Certainly, if you add Emery, you want another offensive lineman or two. I think maybe there's a scenario where an additional offensive lineman comes from the transfer portal. We'll see how that squares up. Charles Duncan, on a 10 scale, what are the chances on Harold Perkins? I think LSU right now, I'm curious to see where he ends up on Saturday. I believe he's supposed to be at A&M, but somehow does that switch up and he's actually at LSU for his visit? We'll see. Kenny Russell, any concerns with Aaron Anderson? No, look, I'm going to be watching Aaron Anderson all the way. I know some people say no way LSU loses a kid from Carr. That very well be. When I talked to Aaron in May at their spring game when they played Russin on a Saturday, he was absent. If you saw that video interview, very adamant that his commitment to LSU was solid and he wasn't going anywhere. But of course, anytime a prospect goes and visits Alabama, that makes people nervous. Look, that's one that Mickey Joseph is staying on top of in a big way, and you guys all know that I think that kid's an absolute beast. So you add him and Shaz and maybe Kendrick Law, Kendrick who can play wide receiver and running back. Florida State's recruiting him as a corner and saying he can play both ways and special teams. We'll see. Charles Duncan, scrimmages start in 3 weeks. Yeah, and I know, Charles, you were looking forward to the TAF tour stops. That got canceled today due to COVID concerns, worried about COVID tracing. So I know that was supposed to start off in Covington tomorrow night. That is now not happening. So if any of you guys were planning on going to any of those TAF tour stops at all the different walk-ons locations, those are now not happening. So let's see. All right, guys, I want to talk real quick about Pride Roofing. I always talk about it a little bit at the beginning of the show, and I always like to talk about them a little bit around the 20-minute mark. Thanks to Mike Faraday and Alex Martinez for sponsoring the show each and every week. You're not going to have a better business to deal with when it comes to your roofing needs. They don't use any builder-grade materials. LSU grad, Broadmoor High School grad, and Mike Faraday, I know him personally, grew up with him, the same stretch of Sherwood Forest, and I vouch for him, and just absolutely super people. And his partner Alex is as good as it gets as well. 5-year labor warranty on all their roofing. They make all their flashing in-house. They've got $100,000 pieces of equipment to build your roof. They can get your roof torn off in the morning and have a new one installed by the evening. They can get it done all in one day, depending on the size of your roof. But I'm told most middle-class homes, they can get it done in a single day. And the really big deal, which I always impress upon you, is that they don't have to wait months for them to get shingles. They have enough shingles in their yard to do 150 to 200 roofs. And it don't matter if you're in Sulphur or Gulf Shores, Alabama, Gulfport, Biloxi, of course, North Shore, Mandeville, Madisonville, Baton Rouge area, Lafayette, Breaux Bridge. They've got you covered, commercial or residential. Call Pride Roofing. Tell them you heard about them on TigerBait, and Mike and Alex are going to pull out their wallet and pay for you to have TigerBait Premium for a year. So you cannot beat that deal. You get a free roof inspection and a quote, and free TigerBait with no obligation. So give them a call, 225-275-2041. You need to go on channel 2 and 9 for Pride, Mike. Yeah, I do a lot with my boy Jacques Doucet, and Jacques been rolling it out, I can tell you that. Chance Babin, in the long run, does Louisiana have deep enough pockets to keep up with the Texas schools and Bama and name, image, and likeness related? I don't think that's a problem. It hasn't been a problem for years. Texas has had deeper pockets and more money in their endowment than LSU all this time. And LSU's won 3 national championships this century, and they've won 1. And, you know, you can look at the all-time numbers and where you put Texas, you know, ahead of LSU, all-time college football from the 19th century to the 21st century. You know, that's up for debate. But being in the SEC is what matters, and I don't think LSU is going to have any issues at all with NIL. LSU is a sexy brand, and like we talked about, I guess it's now about a month ago, that NIL video that LSU rolled out that morning stated it all. LSU's embraced it. They were on board with it, and people are still talking about that produced video that they put together. There you go, Charles. LSU has 4 national championships while Texas only has 3. And Charles, tell me, am I right that if you take out the 2004, is it 4? 2004, or was it 5, Vince Young? If you take that out, their last one was 1970. Is that right? So, yeah. Brian Roy, do we lead for Armla? No, I'm not seeing LSU leading for Armla. Charles Duncan, yeah, 2005. 4 was USC, wasn't it? That was when LSU went to the Capital One Bowl, and I was down on the field when in pregame, and that's when we learned that Les Miles was the guy replacing Nick Saban. And we know what happened on the last play of the game of that one. Let's see. There he is, Carl the Cat's in the house. I'm glad to have you with you, Carl. Have you with us, Carl. Let's see. Yeah, that's right, Mike. Hannah Griff is doing post-game show only, and I'm glad. I enjoy listening to Charles on my way home before Preston and I go live, or if Preston and I are live walking to the car. Let's see. Bart Smokey, there he is. Check us out Monday on KZMZ Alexandria 969. Tiger Talk starts back Monday in Alexandria, and that FM signal, you can hear that all the way to Lafayette, Lake Charles, Central Louisiana. I think there's been some times where I've been able to pick it up even a little bit in the Baton Rouge area. And they go from 4 to 6, and I'm usually on with Bart and them at about 5:45 to 6, 5:45 to 6. So, yeah, Tiger Talk on Alexandria Radio. Bart, one of my good friends, and I've been doing his show now for I guess 20 years now, right, Bart? Check him out, guys. They do a great show, and he always has good guests. Charles Duncan, Texas lost to Notre Dame 24-11 in the 1971 Cotton Bowl and split with Nebraska that year. LSU only lost 3-0 in South Bend. Yeah, so they split, which you lose your bowl game and you split. That's nonsense. So what was the national title before that? Boy, they got some funny business. And by the way, Nick Saban blew the Vince Young deal. LSU I was covering Vince Young. I did so many interviews with him. LSU was the leader for Vince Young. And Saban had him. He was leaning LSU and lost him when he mentioned about the possibility of him moving to wide receiver, and then the rest is history. Boy, ain't many times Saban makes a mistake like that, but he blew that one. Kenny Futch, when does Emery make his commitment? That'll be Friday, and waiting to get the definitive time on that. I'll have that up, but that'll be Friday. Bruce Steele, is LSU in good shape for Harold Perkins? I believe they are. Certainly Texas A&M is battling. I believe it's a LSU-Texas A&M battle. Of course, Perkins originally from New Orleans, and I know Blake Baker is recruiting him like nobody's business. Absolutely loves him, and that's his guy. So we'll see how that one plays out. Chance Babin. You bring up a good question. I talked to Coach about him today. What's the story with Jamon Tapp from Ascension Catholic? I think that kid's going to play the game a little bit, and I got plans to go see him very early. In fact, I'm going to try to go see him at one of their practices, in the next couple of weeks. And I'll have something on him. Jacques Doucet went out and interviewed him a couple of weeks ago, and he didn't have a whole lot to say. There you go, C. King, with the word 6 p.m. on Emery Jones. Good deal. Any word on Le'Veon Moss? I think we're still in a holding pattern. And by the way, our thoughts and prayers are with the Estruma family. They lost another Estruma student athlete. Kid was in a car wreck, and just awful. I mean, they've had some tragedies at Estruma the last few months, and our thoughts and prayers are with them. No word on Le'Veon Moss, but we're still monitoring him. I think all these dominoes starting to fall. We're going to weigh on him, but certainly he's got the loss of several teammates weighing on him as well right now. So hopefully the Estruma, Coach Gradney and them make it through this okay. Are you surprised, C-Man CUC, are you surprised that Mulkey hasn't finalized her staff or added a few more players? You know, she kind of mapped it out, and I think she's kind of been true to form, where she talked about what all she was going to have to do to get moved, listing her house, being able to go to camps, how they might, have to, do it on the fly a little bit this first year. I don't know what her final roster is going to be or what the final date is as to when she can get that over with. I mean, does she all of a sudden have somebody enroll out of the blue before for the first day of school in the coming weeks? It's going to be interesting to see. I need to make a few calls. That's a good question. I need to get plugged in on what's going on with Kim Mulkey right now. Charles Duncan, Alabama won the 73 UPI National Championship before the Bowls, but lost to Notre Dame in the Sugar Bowl, and Notre Dame won the AP title. Yeah, Chris McKenzie got a Kendrick Law update on the front page of TigerBait.com. Talked to his father, who's excellent, and he basically told me that look, they want to. A lot of the schools that they're looking at have new offensive coordinators, new coaches, and they're going to want to take some official visits in the fall, and not leaning anywhere. I know there was one little extended quote that maybe made some people believe that they were talking more glowingly about Alabama more than the others. But certainly it's going to be a fight for him. I'm not saying it's a slam dunk for any school, but we're going to see how this plays out. Certainly, if Jake Peets' offense takes off like everybody hopes it does, and LSU looks good and it starts to look eerily similar to 2019, I think that then those pieces will fall into place naturally for LSU. Kenny Russell, Mike, are you hearing word about Trey Palmer improving? We'll see. I've been waiting for Trey to go to the next level, and we'll see. Maybe. Having a new receivers coach or a new passing game coordinator with some new ideas and a new offensive coordinator is going to help him, as well as just being more mature and getting older. So we'll see. It's one of those deals where he needs to make a statement, because it's when you're at LSU, if you don't make a statement in the first few years, you're in danger of having been recruited over. And with LSU having Brian Thomas and Chris Hilton and Jack Besh and Malik and plus what was last year, you run the risk of getting recruited over. That's what we call that. O mentioned Palmer at the Rotary today, but see, Orgeron does that. He lists everybody so he doesn't get in hot water. But I do hope that he's right though on Trey. Because he's a super kid, and once he's got the ball, he can do some dangerous things. Kamari Wilson, I I should have something on Kari in the next few days. Check back with me. Let's see what else we got, guys. I'm scrolling up. Give me a minute. I turned the air conditioning off in here because usually I can hear it bad on my mic, and now I'm sweating bullets. Oh, here's a good one. Daniel Glenn. Any thoughts on the Alsbury brothers' lean currently? Obviously, a few years away from commitment, and Verge has his baggage. So I think the Verge stuff, that baggage is gone, is going to be taken care of. He'll sit out this coming football season. He'll sit at home in the air conditioning for his additional penalty. Any thoughts on the Alsbury brothers? I tell you what, I think everybody wants to talk about Jaden, and rightfully so. Do not sleep on Austin. I think Austin is coming into his own. He's maturing. He's getting bigger and stronger. And I can't wait to see him this fall. Don't snooze on Austin and Alsbury. I think a lot of people are starting to realize that he's going to be every bit as formidable as his younger brother. Played his first year at corner last year. And I think both of those kids are going to be superb. Let's see what else we got, guys. Boy, we got a big group in here tonight. Thanks to all of you guys. Please hit the like button, share. If you're on YouTube, subscribe, hit the notification bell. We're going to be going live a whole lot. Additional shows being added. And so we want to make sure that you guys have us marked down. Chance Babin, another one on Alzeria Thomas. He's another one. I'm working on something on him as well. Check back with me on him. Mike Andrews, Devonta Lee wasn't mentioned today in spite of a great spring. Let's see what happens with Devonta. I thought Devonta looked very well. That might just been an oversight. Look, when you start speaking like Orgeron does, it's easy to skip over somebody and then regret it and realize after the fact that you forgot to mention somebody. You mentioned Bryce Langston today. I'm wondering, my ears are going to perk up if in the coming weeks after practice starts, if without being prompted or without somebody asking him, I'm waiting for the first practice, post-practice media opportunity. My ears are going to perk up the first time he mentions Savion Jones without someone asking him about Savion Jones. That's what I'm looking forward to. Let's see, guys. Carl Dunn, how will the spike of COVID affect high school? I don't know. You know, I don't know what the governor does. I don't know what the LHSAA does. I know it's making a whole lot of people nervous. Obviously it made LSU officials nervous. That's why they canceled the TAF tour at all the walk-ons, because, you know, certainly if you're Ed Orgeron, you don't want to, even if you've been vaccinated, you don't want to go on a bunch of these things and then go back into the building and meet with your players and cause yourself a contact tracing issue before you even start fall camp. So, you know, you're watching the numbers, you're seeing the political wrangling back and forth on both sides. You're seeing bogus numbers. You're seeing guys that claim their numbers are right. Some claiming the Delta variant's worse. Others saying, yeah, it's worse for hospitalizations, but the deaths aren't as bad. It's like you wonder why the public is getting so much misinformation, how the public's heads are spinning, and now they're asking you to wear a mask again, even if you've had the vaccinations. We'll see. Dwight is a start on any other team. Dwight McLaughlin, boy, he had a great spring. William Peden, my buddy Bill. What's up, Kimmeridge Rifle? Yeah, I was pretty darn good with a Nerf football and a K2 back in the day, huh, Billy? Kenny Russell, do you think the COVID risings will hinder fan attendance for Tiger Stadium? I think there's going to be some people that are still, depending on age and so forth, or if they've got pre-existing conditions that might say, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and hand my tickets off to somebody else for another year. We'll see how it plays out. Chili Vic, do you think LSU goes after another offensive tackle? Good question. I think they're constantly going to be looking at the transfer portal. Obviously, now that Bo Bordelon's heading towards 290, he's going to be the beast that his dad said he was going to be 2 years ago. But I think you still watch that transfer portal and see if you can get what you need. But if you've got Bo at a tackle spot, you got Campbell at 1, you get Emery Jones on Friday, Fitzgerald West at center. Are you necessarily looking for another guard? I think you always look for tackles, depending on who they are, how much left, how good they are. So we'll see how that plays out. I think, here we go. Alex Jr., any comps for Walker Howard? Who to compare him to? Man, you know what? Usually if I see a guy, sometimes something will immediately click. Obviously Aaron Anderson, I was calling him Josh Reed 2.0. He compares himself to Hill with the Chiefs, and I can see that. Someone was asking me today, sometimes it's not as easy to make a comparison. I don't have a comp for Walker Howard right now, but I'm going to ask Jamie that. I'm going to see if his dad has a comparable. I don't have one right now. But I will tell you this. I've been seeing him for 3 years, and I think this year is going to be do him some good. I think he's going to have some adversity at St. Thomas More. He doesn't have the receivers that he had last year. But obviously they always have a way at St. Thomas More to get what they need. I don't know if he's gonna have 1,000 less yards like Jack Besh says. I think he had 3,300, and Jack says they're probably gonna be around 2,200 this year. We'll see. But obviously we know we saw the numbers today were, what do you have, a 38 or 39 inch vertical, 4.40. Of course, they're hand timing. I know electronic time, he's probably right there at 4.6, which is blazing for a quarterback. Good shuttle time. He's been the second fastest kid on the team for several years, and he is again. I thought maybe he might have ended up being the number one guy. So I want to find out who the number one guy, fastest guy is at STM. Kenny Futch, I plan on attending every LSU home game. The virus won't go away, but we need to live our lives. I could get in a car accident, but I'm not afraid to drive. Yeah, no doubt about it. I know a lot of people have, I think there's a lot of people that fluctuate between anxiety and exasperation and kind of getting to where you are, like, I'm not living this way anymore, Spook Monclaw, there he is. Walker Howard equals John Elway. All right. You might need to get a little taller, huh, Spook? Of course, Spook Monclaw, he's a big STM guy. His son plays for St. Thomas More, tight end. We'll be watching him this coming football season. And Charles Duncan's doing his PSA. He's given us get vaccinated several times. STM reloads. Yeah, they do. They've got some very interesting games on their schedule. I'm trying to figure out when I'm going to go get to see them this fall. I think he's got a pretty darn good offensive line. You just don't want to see Walker having to run a whole lot to get third down conversions. What about Baker for Howard? Give me a little bit more information. Or you guys fill me in as what I'm not putting together right there, guys. I'm getting a little punchy. Coach O needs to continue to find these big uglies for the offensive line. Yeah, he does. And, let's see what they bring in for the boys from the boot on Saturday. We'll see what ends up. Is there a new offensive line name that shows up on Saturday? And then who shows up for, home games once the season starts? I got to believe Coach Davis is going to have some new guys coming there, as well as getting as many class of 2023 guys on campus this fall, so he can start putting together next year's offensive line haul. Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. Thanks, Charles. Baker, Mayfield, Walker. I'd have to see I'd have to go back and look at Mayfield's, what did he look like physically going into his senior year? What is Baker's true height? Because Walker's right at 6'1", maybe a little over 6'1" and a quarter. That might not be a bad comparison. Defensive line. Look, still got Tiger Hill on board. And we talked about Jamon Tapp earlier, as well as Quincy Wiggins. I really like where LSU sits with Quincy Wiggins. And, of course, he's tight with Emery and all those guys. So we're going to see how this plays out. Andy Whitaker says, Howard reminds me of Johnny Manziel. Yeah, and I can tell you one thing you don't have to worry about is Walker Howard being like Johnny Manziel off the field. But we're getting a lot of Walker Howard tonight. Let's see. Mike Andrews, the unknown is who they are recruiting that is silent. I think there's more than a few kids that they have an idea where the kid has said, Coach, I'm coming. Just let me take a few visits. I want to maybe announce at this Under Armour game, or my mom's birthday is December 3rd, whatever it might be. No doubt that you have that every year. Kentwood stand up, says Blake Ruffino earlier when we were talking about Trey Palmer. And Blake and I always get into into it. He claims that Mandeville and Madisonville is classified as the North. He claims Franklinton and that area up north is considered the North Shore. And I say the North Shore is only Mandeville and Madisonville and Covington. Anything that's within about a 10-minute ride to Lake Pontchartrain. So I think I'm right, and I think he's wrong. So you guys let me know who's right. Ran into Manziel at an autograph show, and he was a nice guy. Yeah, look, nobody that's ever met Johnny Manziel didn't like him. I've heard that many times. Charles Duncan, you were right about the North Shore, Mike. I think them Franklinton folks are in Amite and so forth are trying to claim they live on the North Shore. Kenny Russell, I want to pick your brain on the LSU defensive line this season. Do you believe they are elite? I do. I just think between the upperclassmen, you have such a great mix of upperclassmen, older guys with a lot of experience, and then you're mixing in guys like Jaquelin Roy, Ali Gay, who I loved what I saw out of Ali Gay last year. Now, what is he going to be like in year two in an SEC program? And now that he's got Andre Carter coaching him, you got Andre Anthony, you had Mason Smith, you got Jacobian Guillory, who's now 100% healthy and in the best shape of his life. I think the sky's the limit for this defensive line. If they can stay healthy, and the fourth quarter program, and Orgeron talked about them running stadiums at 5 in the morning on Fridays, I just think if they stay healthy, that can be such a difference maker late in a football game when you're able to rotate that many quality defensive linemen throughout a football game where these guys are going to have their legs. And if you happen to get into an overtime affair against a school like Ole Miss, where you get in crazy games with Lane Kiffin, you're going to have a defensive line that's going to be a lot better off than theirs. So I absolutely believe this defensive line for LSU is the best one that Orgeron's had from not only a talent standpoint, but also depth. Just guys he's going to be able to rotate in and out. Yeah, Glenn Thomasy, Savion Jones added 25 pounds. I was told 25 to 30, and that was a week ago. So what is it now, 35? I mean, it's insane the amount of weight that Savion has put on. His body is like a sponge. And if you've ever seen him in person, because he's so tall and long limbs, he can put on 10 pounds and you're not even going to notice it. So, look, I think he's going to be fantastic. Yeah, Blake says, I am right, you are wrong. No. The next thing we're going to do, Blake, is we're going to bring a postmaster in here and we're going to end it all for good. Let's see. Yeah, I think, you know, look, obviously I always talk about how I rated Savion as my #1 player in the state for the class of 21. But in reality, it was like 1A and 1B, Savion and Mason. I think, like I've been saying, I think Mason is going to be the guy who's most likely to be on the field earlier because Savion is so raw and he needs to get bigger and stronger. But year 2 and 3, look out. And then what are we going to do if all of a sudden we're in week 2 or 3 of August camp, and all of a sudden Orgeron starts saying Savion's name and his eyeballs get big? We're going to see. I've eaten in that nutrition center at LSU twice. When it opened up, the media got to eat there, and we got the tour of it. Food was unbelievable. And then there was another time after practice where we had a media gathering with Coach Orgeron, and he paid for dinner for all of us after we did our interviews. And there's no way a kid that needs to gain weight or needs all the calories isn't going to get it. Carving roast beef, shrimp, salad bars, soft serve ice cream machines, you name it. If they've got it down to a science, if a kid needs this many carbs, this many grams of protein, they know what each player needs. And obviously, Savion Jones is getting it. And like a lot of high school kids, he's probably eating one meal a day and running the roads with his friends, but at the same time lifting weights at St. James, but maybe not getting 200 plus grams of protein every day like he's getting now. Swerved Inc., do we have a current weight on Besh? No, I don't. I doubt that he's over 215. Maybe he is. Maybe he's 216 or something like that. He usually hovers 212 to 215. Like we were saying all last year when there was talk of him bulking up to 230. I think that's absolutely I can't see his body carrying 230 pounds. I just can't. Because I think he's already developed and mature physically for his size. I think if he got up to 230, I don't think he would be as effective. I don't think he would move as well. I like where he's at right now. So we'll see how creative they are in making him an H-back or however Coach Peets and Mangus and them are going to end up using him. Savion and Wiggins, the same type of player. I think Wiggins is more of going to be more like Jaquelin Roy once he gets the weight on him. And whereas Savion is runs like a linebacker, but he'll be in the 265 range. So, whereas I think Quincy can be a 300-pounder. Let's see what else we got. All right, guys, let me see. Let me make sure I got some more. Guys, do me a favor. Go to TigerBait and subscribe. We're about to load the site up. Fall camp, practice reports, photo galleries, video. I'm about to hit the road, visit high schools. We're going to have all those updates for you. Got a Shaz Preston update in the morning. course, we got we're watching Mason Taylor tomorrow at 4 o'clock. St. Thomas Aquinas, Florida, Fort Lauderdale, and I think that's looking like LSU. So, and then you get Emery Jones Friday evening, and then you got Boys from the Boot on Saturday. So we're gonna have all that for you at TigerBait.com. You get our text alerts, our newsletters, and more. And go subscribe, choose the annual package, $99 a year. Get billed one time. You save 3 months when you do that. We want to have you on board with this premium. We're going to have a great football season. I think LSU, like I said, I'm sticking with 10-2. And so we want to have you as a part of our TigerBait community. I'm on our Tiger Den premium message board day and night. Go subscribe. Give us a try this football season. I think you'll love it. We got a lot of great discussions on our message board. And of course, we're going to be here each and every week, and we'll be adding more shows as well. So I'm going to be going live at different times during the day, depending on what's going on. So we'll wait to see what our practice schedule is, media availability, how that's going to play out. I hope it's not wall-to-wall Zoom like last season, but I'm starting to get worried now with some of the panic with the Delta variant. So we're going to see how this plays out in the coming weeks. But we're going to have it all for you at TigerBait.com. Go subscribe. Thanks to all of you for participating tonight. Thanks for the super chats as well. We're going to put that in the camera fund. And see y'all guys on the other side, and see you on the Tiger Den message board. Good night, everybody.